Om Prapannaparijataya Totravetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gītāmritaduhe Namaha. Pranams everyone. Hari Om. We are in the 5th chapter, Sloka number 19. Shri Bhagavan uvacha ihaiva tairjita sargaḥ yeṣhām samye sthitam manaḥ nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmād brahmani te sthitāh. So Bhagavan is talking about jnanis in this section. In the previous sloka, sloka number 18, Bhagavan talked about jnanis having sama-darśanam. Sama-darśanam in the sense, jnanis are able to see the adhisthana-darśanam. They are able to have the adhisthana-darśanam. We saw videha-sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuni cha swapake cha. So they are able to panditaha sama-darshinaha. Jnanis are having a sama-darśanam with respect to whether it is a brahmana or in a brahmana or in a cow or in an elephant and in a dog and in a dog eater. Now they are having the sama-darśana. Here in this sloka, Bhagavan talks about jīvan-mukti and videha-mukti, or in other words, the benefit of this sama-darśanam. Because we might ask, why can't we have viṣhama-darśanam, the variety? Why do we need to have sama-darśanam? After all, when we say that I am seeing Brahman everywhere, Brahman is, there seems to be no excitement, because all variety comes out of Maya. Variety, beauty, novelty of this world comes out of Maya. Brahman cannot give variety, novelty or beauty. So anything that is beautiful is actually a laksana of Maya. But Maya cannot give stability. Stability can come only from Brahman. So if we notice Brahman everywhere, there seems to be no excitement. Some may question, why can't we see the differences as they are? Because for us, after all, when we see the same thing or eat the same food every day, we get bored. We eat varieties of food. We need variety. So in the same way, why can't we have our drishti on the various names and forms? Why should we have this drishti on Brahman? What is the benefit there? Whether we need varieties of food, a jnani will not need it. But as ajnanis, we look for variety. So Bhagavan says, a person having this sama-darśanam, he will be liberated here and now, even when living. He will be freed from samsara. He will be freed from bondage. Not only that, he also attains videha-mukti. Videha-mukti means he is free from this birth-death cycle. That Bhagavan says that in the first line. So the first line is mukti lakshana, we can say mukti lakshana, the definition of liberation. Ihaiva tairjita sargaḥ. Iha eva. Ihaiva means iha eva. Iha eva means here itself. Here and now. What does this mean? It means with this body, whatever body we are in now, when we are in this world itself, not after death. Asmin dehe, asmin janmani. In this birth itself, in this body itself, when being with this sharira itself, taiḥ jitaḥ sargaḥ. Taiḥ means by them. Who are they? Bhagavan is talking about people having this sama-darśanam, the sama-darshibihi. So the sama-darshibihi, here and now, jitaḥ sargaḥ. Jitaḥ means 1 over. Jitaḥ, we have seen in Hindi also is jitaḥ. Jitaḥ means 1 over. Vasikritaḥ, it is also called as vasikritaḥ or parikritaḥ. Parikritaḥ means it is a parihara. Parihara for what? Sargaḥ. Sargaḥ means janma. Sargaḥ means janma or birth. See, the birth itself is a dosha. So there has to be a parihara for this dosha. So here is the parihara. Jitaḥ sargaḥ. What is the parihara? Having this sama-darśanam. So birth is overcome. Jitaḥ sargaḥ means birth is overcome. For who? Sama-darshibihi. Here and now. Yeṣhām. Yeṣhām means those people who have won over this birth and who have got this parihara for janma. Yeṣhām samye sthitam manaḥ. We'll take manaḥ. Manaḥ means mind. Whose mind? Samye sthitam. Samye means in Brahman. Samabhave Brahmani. In the Brahman which is samam. Sthitam. Sthitam means is established. It's firmly established. Sthitam samye means it is firmly established in Brahman. So if we see the full meaning of the first line, whose mind is established in Brahman, yeṣhām manaḥ sthitam samye, they have won over janma. taiḥ jitaḥ sargaḥ. Ihaiva, they have got parihara for birth. Here and now. So here too Bhagavan says, suppose there are many pots made of clay. We see clay pots everywhere. Then our buddhi or our intellect, they can understand that all of them are only clay. We will not be fooled into it. But if the same pots, say for example, are painted in different colors, and different colors, different designs are painted out, then what happens? Our mind, it gets attracted to these colors, and our attention, it remains only on the nāma-rūpa, the name and form only. Even when the buddhi knows it is all one, still what happens? Our mind gets pulled towards these external differences. And it is the same thing with gold. All necklaces are made of the same gold. But our mind, it runs after the design. We say, I only want that design. That attachment is to the name and form. Our mind refuses to come out of it. Our intellect is clear. The intellect is clear. It's all gold. It's the same underlying object. But the mind is refusing to let go of the name and form. In the same way, another example. All phones, all mobile phones are ultimately used only for calling, messaging, browsing. But yet the mind says, I want this model, the latest model, that one, that color, that. So the attraction is not to the function, it is to the nāma-rūpa, the color, the style, the form. So here Bhagavan says, those who have sama-darśanam. So what happens? Our intellect may be clear, but the mind does not let go of name and form. But here Bhagavan says, for those who have sama-darśanam, they are not only clear in their intellect that Brahman is the adhisthana, even their mind is established in that Brahman. yeṣhām manaḥ sthitam samye. Their mind is firmly placed in that Brahman, which is samam. And to place the mind on Brahman is extremely difficult. Let us reflect. If we sit for dhyana, for meditation, is the mind really able to stay on where the intellect wants it to stay? It's very difficult. The reality for us is that the mind can go to 100 other places, but not to the place where the intellect wants it to go. And here, when we are sitting for dhyana, we ask the intellect to, the mind to only stay on one anatma only, not even atma. We say, okay, a form of Bhagavan Shiva, or form of Hanuman, or form of a Devi. We want to focus on a Saguna Ishvara. But even for that, the mind refuses to stay on that. Then how difficult would it be for the mind to stay on Brahman? The truth for us is, it cannot stay even on Anatma. And that is the very Swarupa of the mind. The mind, the Swarupa is to keep running. But these people, the Samadarshis, they have done a vasikaram of the mind. They have trained it. They have calmed the mind. And they have firmly placed it on Brahman. So not only their intellect, even their mind has samadrishti. We already saw that in the 17th Sloka. Tad buddhayas tad atmanah. We saw where tad buddhayas is firmly established, those who have knowledge of that Brahman and who have placed their mind also on Brahman. The Samadarshis. So these people, their mind has samadrishti. Normally the mind runs outward, but through constant practice, they have trained it, they have steadied it, they have aligned it with where the intellect wants it to be. So first we will have to get a clarity in the intellect. Then we can train the mind, because ultimately there has to be somebody who has to tell the mind where it is to be placed. So first we will have to get clarity in our intellect. And what has the intellect said? The intellect has said Brahman is the only reality. It is the only entity that is everywhere. Now those who have been able to keep their mind also on that Brahman, remember, for them also the nāma-rūpas are visible. The nāma-rūpas are also visible for them, but they are not letting it distract them. Such people are the one who have truly won over this janma-mrityu chakram, the cycle of birth and death, even when they are alive. Ihaiva, here and now. So they have been able to remove all janmas. Now, what do we really mean by removing janmas? How can we remove janmas? We can remove janmas only if we are able to remove the cause behind the janmas. Now, what is the cause for janmas? Sanchita karma. It is the sanchita karma from where a portion of that comes as prarabdha karma for every birth. So which means the sanchita karma must be removed. And once the root cause itself is gone, there is no more seed for future births. So which means what? They have removed karmas. The karmas responsible for birth have been removed. This is what it means by the first line. Iha eva taiḥ jitaḥ sargaḥ yeṣhām manaḥ samye sthitam. Now we will go to the second line. Now in the second line, Bhagavan says, why the jnanis have taken pains to keep their mind on Brahman. It is very difficult, but they have done that. After all, to keep their mind on something else, on anatma matters, would have been very easy. Now, is it really difficult to keep a mind focused on one thing? Actually, no. See, if we ask a school-going boy or a person who is very interested in cricket, ask him to keep his mind on cricket, it will be easy for that person. Ask him about the statistics, he will be able to tell the statistics. Some people are interested in movies, ask them about movies, they will tell you everything. Some people are interested in planes, they are willing to tell anything about planes, or some people are on trains. If only an exam is conducted on that, they would be happy to talk about it, give exams on that. But the same student, if he is asked to keep his mind on studies, which he does not desire, then suddenly it becomes difficult. So, but then we can say he is able to keep it because it's his swabhava. It's his swabhava to like movies or cricket or whatever. So why not let the mind follow its own swabhava? Why not let the mind settle on what it likes? Why did these people force it on Brahman? Brahman, which is not attractive. In the beginning, it is not attractive at all. So why should you force this mind on this Brahman? Bhagavan answers in second line, he says, Nirdosham hi samam Brahma. Brahman is indeed samam, same, and not only same, nirdosham. Nirdosham means defectless. Brahman is defectless. So why did they keep their mind on Brahman? Because that is the only place where there is no dosha. Nirdosham Brahman. Brahman alone is defectless. Brahman alone is free from all limitations. Everything else in this world has a defect, some shortcoming. Nothing in this world is perfect. Brahman is the only nirdosham. Nobody is perfect. No object is perfect. No situation is perfect. Brahman is the only thing which is perfect. So Brahman is the only nirdosham, and therefore we should keep our mind only on that. Nirdosham, one commentator says, Nirdukham. Nirdukham means that which is sorrowless. Brahman cannot give us sorrow. Brahman is Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. And therefore, that is the only safe place where the mind should rest. If we place the mind elsewhere, sorrow will follow. Everything in this world, whatever seems to give happiness, is always mixed with sorrow. But if we place it on Brahman, then it is nirdukkam, free from sorrow, it is ananda-rūpam. Of course, at the beginning, it feels difficult. Keeping the mind on Brahman, it feels like poison. Bhagavan says in the 18th chapter, Later on we will see. Yattad agre viṣhamiva. But in time it becomes amrutopamam. It becomes nectar. Yattad agre viṣhamivam pariname amrutopamam. When Bhagavan is explaining what is sattvika sukham, what is sattvic happiness? We seem to have happiness in this world. We seem to get happiness in this world. When we go for a holiday, when we go sightseeing somewhere, when we see some nature, or when we eat our preferred food, or when we meet a person whom we like, when we are in the company of people whom we like to be with, there is happiness. Now happiness can also be split into three types of happiness are there. Sattvika happiness, rajasa happiness, and tamasa happiness. So Bhagavan here is defining sattvika happiness. What is sattvika happiness? Yattad agre viṣhamiva. At whatever feels like poison in the beginning. Pariname amrutopamam. But over time, in the end, it becomes nectar. That kind of happiness is sattvika sukham. To sit and do japa, initially it will be very painful to sit in the same place for 10 minutes, closing our eyes, not seeing phone, not getting distracted. It feels that 10 minutes can feel like 1 hour. Viṣhamiva, it feels like poison. But once we are able to practice that, it becomes nectar. Once we are able to do that, we would be looking for opportunities to sit for japam. Going to gym, doing some kind of exercises initially will be painful. But over a period of time, it builds healthy body. So those are all sattvika sukham. That which feels like poison, but later is like nectar, that happiness is declared as sattvika sukham. So in the same way, to rest our mind on Brahman initially will be difficult. But if we keep the mind on Brahman over a period of time, we will realize it is Ananda Swarupa. So the mind, if it gets rested on Brahman, because it is Ananda Swarupa, our mind will be full of happiness. And Brahman is nirdosham. The one lakshana of a Brahman is nirdosham. Another lakshana we saw that as samam brahma. Samam brahma. So in the previous sloka we came across this term sama-darśanam. And we said sama-darśanam is nothing but Brahma-darśanam. And this Brahma-darśanam is mentioned here. Where is the pramana for sama-darśanam to be Brahma-darśanam? In this sloka. Because Bhagavan says samam brahma. Brahman's lakshanam is samam. Samam means never changing. It does not get destroyed. It is always the same. Brahman is equal. Whereas if we keep our mind on anatma, say we keep a relation with another person, then we do not know when the person will change. Friends become enemies, relatives become enemies. If we do not keep any relation with anyone also, then we will not have any friends. So, anatma, the change is the only constant in anatma. Whereas Brahman does not change. It always is. It always is. Is means what? It always is. I shared another quote from Swamiji. Is means existence. Brahman tasmat brahmani te sthitam. Therefore, tasmat, therefore, te sthitam. Te means they, sthitam, they are established where? In Brahman. Brahmani. In Brahman. They refers to the people who have sama-darśanam. So because Brahman is Ananda Swarupa, they are established in Brahman. So why are they going towards Brahman? Because it is samam, it is nirdosham, nirdukkam. What is the benefit? Jitaḥ sargaḥ, birth is overcome, videha-mukti. So in this sloka, sama-darśana hetu, the reason or cause behind sama-darśana or trigger, and sama-darśana phala, the benefit of sama-darśana is given here. Now we'll go to sloka number 20. न प्रहृष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य नो द्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिरबुद्धिर्समूढः ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः. न प्रहृष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य नो द्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिरबुद्धिरसम्मूढः ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः. So, previous sloka, Bhagavan said, Tasmat Brahmani te sthitāh. Therefore, they are established in Brahman. Now, the natural question that can arise is, who can be really called as Brahmanishta? Or to put it differently, when can one said to be established in Brahman? When can I say that that person is established in Brahman? So here Bhagavan gives a lakshana, clear indication, saying if this thing holds good, then such a person can be called as Brahmanishta. We have seen this earlier also. If you remember, in the second chapter, we had seen Sthita Prajna Lakshana. When can one be called as a Sthita Prajna? Arjuna asked. And Bhagavan gave some lakshanas. Again, this lakshana is not for judging others. It is a lakshana that is to be used as a mirror to check and validate for self. Am I meeting this requirement? If yes, then I can claim to be a Brahmanishta. Now, who is this Brahmanishta? How can we qualify? What is a lakshana for a Brahmanishta? That can be answered in many ways. But Bhagavan has put it very simply here. He says, when a person's mind does not get affected by external situations, then he is a Brahmanishta. That is the essence of this sloka. When the external situation does not disturb the mind, when the external situation does not dictate the mind, when the external situation does not drive the mind, then that person is truly established in Brahman. What happens in life? We will be dealing with people, we will be dealing with various situations, we will be handling things. And for this Brahmanishta, if there is no connection between the contented, peaceful mind and those external situations, then that for a Brahmanishta, he is not. There is no connection between his mind, peaceful mind, and external situations. So for us also, if we are in a position to actually separate these two, not link the external situations, what people say, their attitude, what people do, how they behave, how they show me faces, or how they don't show me a face, and my peaceful mind, then I can call myself as Brahmastitah. Now we'll go to this sloka. Na prahrushyet priyam prapya. Prapya priyam. when attaining priyamana vastu, when I attain something which I desire, something which I like, or something that can give me comfort, something that can give me pleasure, something that can give me joy, prapya priyam. And that could be in the form of a relationship, that could be in the form of a possession, that could be in the form of a situation also. Then priyam prapya na prahrishayet. Na prahrishayet means this person, he is not elated, he is not excited, he does not get carried away. In other words, he is not overjoyed facing the pleasant. Some people will say, why are you killing the excitement by being quiet when such exciting things are happening? Na prahishyet priyam prapya. He is not elated facing the pleasant. But then, will we face only pleasant things in life? No. So, no dvijet prapya cha apriyam. Cha prapya apriyam. And facing the unpleasant. As in when attaining something that gives us pain, that gives us discomfort, that gives us sorrow, that gives us disturbance. Again, it could be from a relationship, it could be from a possession, it could be from a situation. Na udvijet. Na udvijet means he is not depressed. This person does not feel that hatred. He is not shaken. He is not disturbed. He is not depressed. He is not disturbed facing the unpleasant things. So, na prahishyet prapya priyam, na udvijet prapya apriyam. So, he is not elated facing the pleasant. He is not depressed facing the unpleasant. So, whether the pleasant or unpleasant comes his way, the jnani remains the same. Now question comes, when do we face these pleasant and unpleasant experiences? Or how and why? People may say it is because of the other person, it is because of the other person that I am facing these situations, or it is because of me itself. The decisions I take, the decisions I have been forced into, whatever. Shastra says it happens prarabdha vashat, because of prarabdha. And prarabdha can come in three forms: vastu, vachanam, karma. Vastu means some object or thing. I get hold of something. I get a house, or I get a car, or I get something in my hand. I get a possession. Even a phone. It is prarabdha vashat. Then vachana. Vachana means somebody's words. Somebody's words is also my prarabdha. Somebody saying something good about me, bad about me, insulting me, hurting me. Prarabdha. Karma. Some action we may have to perform this life. Duties that have been given. Prarabdha. So here, the jnani does not get elated or depressed by any of these. Just because he has got something that he likes, he will not get elated. Just because he gets something which is does not like, he will not get depressed. Again, Bhagavan does not use the word like or dislike. He says priyam, apriyam. We will come to that later. Because the question might come, how can a jnani have a likes and dislikes? So we will come to that later. So when can this happen? Not getting elated, not getting depressed by any of these. only when I do not have any condition for my mind's contentment. Right now, for my mind to be happy, I have a lot of conditions. If I have unconditional mind, then that is called as Mokṣa. But if we look, so question is, do I have Mokṣa? Well, let's look at ourselves. For our happiness, how many conditions we have? My food must be like this only. My food must be at my particular time, in my particular plate, in particular temperature. My coffee should be really hot. It should come exactly at 7 o'clock in the morning. My spouse must behave like this only. My children should always obey me. My neighbors must love me. My boss should praise me. My in-laws should not disturb me. So all these conditions are there for our happiness. And the list goes on. And it goes on to such an extent that sometimes even when we wish that certain people whom we do not like, there could be relatives, friends, neighbors, they should not have money, they should not have comfort, they should not have go for a holiday, because if they do that, we get jealous and that disturbs our happiness. So there are so many conditions for my mind to be contented. So here Bhagavan says, when no condition or no situation affects the person, that is Mokṣa. Now notice carefully, if you look at it, Bhagavan in this Sloka, he could have taken the benefit route, as in, he could say, when you get Mokṣa, you get this benefit. As in, once jnana comes, your mind will remain steady and calm, whether you get priyam or apriyam. That would have been easy to describe it. But Bhagavan takes the opposite route. He says, when are you considered jnana-nishtha? Only when you are steady and calm in the face of both priyam and apriyam. So first you will have to make your mind steady. Then you can get jnana-nishtha. Not that you get jnana-nishtha and therefore now my mind becomes steady. So that's an important thing for us to notice. So who is a jnana-nishtha? First line. Facing the pleasant, he is not elated. Facing the unpleasant, he is not depressed. I said pleasant and here pleasant and unpleasant, not like and dislike. Remember. So jnana-nishtha is measured not by what comes to that person. So once I get jnana-nishtha, I will always have pleasant things in my life. Bhagavan does not give that guarantee. That is also something that we have to note. Oh, if I study this Vedanta now, I will now have no unpleasant things around me. I will always have a happiness around me. I will be always in joy. No, Bhagavan doesn't say. Bhagavan doesn't say that. But jnana-nishtha is by how our mind responds to it. As I said, another thing that I said, likes and dislikes cannot be used, should not be used, because a jnani will not have likes and dislikes. So we can ask ourselves the question. One Vyakyakarta asks the same question, and answers. If a person is truly established in jnana, shouldn't he see everything as samam? Then how can Bhagavan talk about priyamana vastu and apriyamana vastu? After all, for him nothing is really pleasing or unpleasant also. So the answer is, it lies in vyavahara, the practical standpoint. From a worldly perspective, if you look at it, when someone praises the jnani, it is considered priyam. When someone criticizes or insults him, it is considered apriyam. In a vyavaharic standpoint, it is considered priyam and apriyam only. But for jnani, of course, in his drishti, he sees the praise and insult as the same, samam. Why? Because for him, the person who praises is acting under adhyasa, superimposition. The person who insults or criticizing him is also acting under adhyasa, superimposition only. Adhyasa apavada. I don't know whether we had probably seen this in the second chapter, adhyasa apavada. In the snake rope example, we would have seen this. Basically, what we say is the whole world is a superimposition of Maya on Brahman. And this person who is praising, the person who is insulting is all part of Maya. So he understands that is only a superimposition, it's not the reality. Of course, from a vyavahara standpoint, that is the reality. From a paramarthik standpoint, it is samam, it is Maya. So from a vyavaharik standpoint, we speak of pleasant and unpleasant, but from the jnani drishti, everything is Brahman, everything is the same. So, no dvijet prapya apriyam. Na udvijet prapya apriyam. Now Bhagavan further explains about this jnani in the second line. He says, sthira buddhihi asammudaha. Sthira buddhihi. He is firm in knowledge. He has no doubt in the knowledge that he has gained. Sometimes some people's intellect could be shaken. They could be studying Vedanta for years together. Then somebody would ask, you're going to Vedanta, what is it? So they could probably say, I don't know what is the use of studying all this Vedanta, because they will start thinking. Because their intellect has not firmly established, they could start thinking that probably there is some other sadhana that I should be taking. This is not helping much, this Vedanta Shravana. Their intellect could get shaken. But for a jnani, the intellect is firm, sthira buddhihi, especially the knowledge. He is firmly established in knowledge. His knowledge is unshakable, clear, full of conviction. What is this knowledge? Simple. Brahma satyam, jagat mithya. This whole world is a mithya. That knowledge is clear. And then sthira buddhihi asammudaha, free from delusion. His mind is free from delusion, which means he is free from any viparita darshanam. He has clear distinction between satyam, mithya. Brahma satyam, jagat mithya. No delusion. He will not give any value to anything in this world. At the same time, he will not despise them. He will not run away from them. Who is he? Brahmavid. Brahmavid, knower of Brahman. So a knower of Brahman is firm in knowledge. He is free from delusion. Brahmavid, sthira buddhihi, asammudaha. And what can such a person be called? Brahmani sthitaha. Brahmani sthitaha iti uchyate. Sthita Brahmani. Sthita prajna visa. Now Sthita Brahmani. Sthita Brahmani means Brahmanishta. So a knower of Brahman is firm in knowledge, free from delusion, and is established in Brahman. Such a knower of Brahman, such a Brahmanishta, such a jnani, he lives by conditions given in the first line. What is it? What sort of condition? That there are no conditions for his mental contentment. No condition is his only condition for being a Brahmanishta. Brahmani sthitaha. So facing the pleasant, he is not elated, facing the unpleasant, he is not depressed, he is a knower of Brahman, he is firmly established in knowledge, he is free from delusion. Such a person is called Brahmanishta. This quality, as I said, we had already seen. Bhagavan has given Stha-prajña lakshana, where we talked about Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha. He is content in the self. And then we saw Dukkeshu Anudvigna Manaha. Then we saw Sukeshu Vigata Spruhaha. Dukkeshu Anudvigna Manaha, unshaken in sorrow. That was also another lakshana given. Sukeshu Vigata Spruhaha, is free from desire. So the same idea is being conveyed here. So with this, Bhagavan kind of completes this jnani discussion here, and then from next slokas, Bhagavan will elaborate on the gloriness of vairagya. How vairagya is an indispensable attitude that one must have for any spiritual seeker. For a spiritual seeker, vairagya is very important. Bhagavan is going to talk about vairagya in the next few slokas. All are important slokas, the next few slokas. Before we go that, Karthik ji, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, intellectually or rationally, right, when we hear to all of this Brahmanic thought, we are able to get it. So, I am obviously far away from, being a jnani or whatever. Just practicing karma yoga to, slowly build equanimity and all of those things. So how do I approach this whole topic of, understanding jnani? Should I just be looking at from a, just a theoretical aspect? Okay, this is how a jnani is, this is how he sees the world, equanimity, equipoise. Can I, like we talk about fake it till you make it, right? Are there any some small practical steps to allow the mind to, get that, placing the mind on the Brahman? Is it possible in some small way, some small tips, or is it like, okay, Karthik, you're not even close, so just focus on doing karma yoga, these things will automatically dawn at some point? How should we, take to this?
Okay.
This particular chapter, this particular topic, how should we take to this from a practical standpoint as a karma yogi? How should I approach this whole idea? I mean, it is really, expanding, right? It allows a lot of expansion in your mind, especially in the intellect part. But now from the intelligence, slowly you have to allow your brain, the mind to also get that same kind of expansion. So just wanted some, practical tips. If we are not supposed to try all of these things because we are not yet qualified for all of these things, maybe. Yeah.
No, Bhagavan is brilliant. So Bhagavan, I shouldn't say Bhagavan is brilliant, but this Bhagavad Gita is being structured very nicely. If you look at it, these are the right kind of questions that will come up right now. And therefore, if you look at it progressively, the next chapter, Bhagavan talks about how to keep our mind there. In the next chapter, Atma-samyama yoga or dhyana yoga talks about how to control the mind, how to make the mind, how to make sure we are able to get concentration in our mind, how to get expansion. We will talk about various types of meditation. So there are different types of meditation we will be discussing in the next chapter. So how to train our mind on these things. But to start with, you are asking about some practical tips. So resting the mind on Brahman, it is not direct. Okay, we cannot just directly get our mind to start from tomorrow onwards. I'll start resting my mind on Brahman. No, it doesn't work that way. There are certain steps to follow before we can get our mind to rest on Brahman. Those steps are given in the next chapter. The next chapter introduction itself will take about 3 or 4 classes minimum for me. where we will be talking about all sorts of meditation. We will be discussing how do we go step by step. So you will get your answers there. Now, with respect to this practical tips on a day-to-day basis, how are we able to prepare the mind? So Bhagavan, through the slokas, we are also discussing, So how these small tips like do not have any conditions, do not have any strong likes and dislikes, saying my food should be like this, my spouse should behave like this, my children should be like this, all these things. As long as you are slowly be able to have a sense of detachment or a sense of reducing your strong likes and dislikes in this world, reducing your conditions for happiness, reducing your conditions for getting into depression, then slowly your mind is also getting slowly prepared. So these are some of the practical tips that we can see. And everybody has different likes and dislikes, right? Some people are heavily focused on food, annamaya kosha. Some people are heavily focused on I cannot take any insult given by anybody because their ahankara, their abhimana is on their ahankara. Some people have my food cannot be like this, so their ahankara or abhimana is on their food, which is annamaya kosha. So different people have their abhimana on different places. So depending on that, we will have to try to reduce the abhimana. We'll have to reduce our likes and dislikes so that the mind gets slowly prepared. And then when we start the 6th chapter, Bhagavan talks about, or rather we will be discussing in terms of various types of meditation and how do we go step by step until we are in a position to say, okay, this is how you will have to do your vididhyasana, or basically meditation on Atma-swarupa. We'll see that later.
Okay, can you also quickly touch upon the thing that you shared, the ease versus, the existence part versus the...
Sure, okay. We got 7 minutes, 6 minutes, so let me do it quickly. See, Swamiji, what he says in that, this is what Vedanta says, right? So when we look at an object normally, what is it that we are focusing on? What Vedanta says is, don't get lost in the object. Look at what is common in every experience. For example, you say, this is a book, or this is a phone, this is a person. All these objects are different, but something is common. What is common? Is. Book is. Phone is. Person is. That isness is existence. Sat. The book may go, the phone may go, the person may go, the isness, it does not go. Table is, chair is, the existence is constant. Every object, what is common across all the objects in this world, it's all existing. Existence is the common thing. So that keep aside. Then how do you know that this is the book? Because I am aware of it. You are aware of it. Because it is known to you. And where are you able to get this knowing thing? That comes out of consciousness. Chit. I am conscious of this book. I am conscious of this phone. Without chit, without consciousness, nothing can be experienced. Nothing can be talked about. I am conscious of people. I am conscious. So for any object, for me to talk about that object, first it must exist. That is Sat. And it must be known. It must be known to so it is Chit. If it exists, but is not known, it is irrelevant. But if it is known, but does not exist, it is not possible also. So Sat and Chit goes together. So book, it has existence, book is known. But Vedanta goes one step further. It says the book borrows its existence. it borrows its knownness from Brahman, from Atma. So Sat and Chit, the existence and the consciousness or the knowingness is not property of this particular book. The existence, it belongs to Atma, our nature. Everything appears to exist to me, Atma. Everything appears to be known to me, the Atma. So the book and the phone is all borrowing my Atma's existence, my Atma's knownness. So existence, it never goes. Consciousness, it never goes. That Sat Chit is Atma, me. Now there are slokas which we have actually discussed Sat. We have not gone into Chit. Chit is mainly discussed in 13th chapter. We'll come there. But Sat is, we have already seen Sat. Sat we have seen in Na sato vidyate bhavaha na bhavo vidyate satah ubhayorapi drishtontaka tvanayos tattva darshibihi. We have seen in 2nd chapter 16th sloka, where we saw, you can refer 2:16. If you listen to that particular sloka in YouTube again, you will understand about existence. And existence is constant, it is never negated. In fact, a few slokas in sloka in chapter 2 is all about existence. We saw about existence being all pervading. Avinashi tu tad vidhi ena sarvam idam tatam. That is 2:17. And then najayate mriyate va kadachit. That existence is unchanging. All these slokas are revealing existence. So 2:16, 2:17, you can look at it. 2:20 also you can look at it. Consciousness we slightly touched upon in 2:18. Antavanta ime dehaha nityasokta sharirinaha. We saw that. But we will be touching on consciousness in detail in 13th chapter. But existence we have already seen. So you can check out on that.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we will see again in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.